There aren't many shows that I can say that I've watched every single episode. Like there really aren't that many. I mean, when I think Homeland is one of
Yeah.
them, reality shows, a lot of them, but Catfish was something that I watched from the beginning, even back to the documentary, but also with my kids. And it
You
was
were an
like
early adopter.
it was the thing we did. Like Friday night when the girls were over, we would watch Catfish and talk about it and talk about how that's out there in the world. And please welcome, first time meeting you, Neve. Great to meet you, Neve Schulman.
Hello.
Dude, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, you must have been using TiVo or something because the show was usually on Tuesday night.
No, we taped it and watched when I was divorced. I was divorced at the time.
So you had them on the weekends. Got it.
On the weekends, and that was our thing. We'd reel off some Catfish. We have a few things going on. A very special someone that we're going to introduce you to that Neve has introduced to the world that you'll meet. That's here in Atlanta, by the way, in just a few minutes. But Neve, what the hell with Catfish going away?
Oh.
Well, okay. First of all, look, it went on as long as or longer than I could have ever hoped. Right? I mean, we had 12 years of that show and over, I think, roughly 300 episodes. So I think it had a great run. I obviously was sad that MTV decided to stop making it, but the good news is, it's not news yet, but the hopeful good news is that now that we have the show sort of back from MTV, we are in discussions to kind of really reinvent it and expand the sort of Catfish world.
No way.
Okay, that's actually big news.
Still a dream. We're still in the works. Nothing to report, but we're hoping that we can figure out a way to really sort of breathe new life into the show and expand it.
Have you said that publicly anywhere yet?
I mean, I've talked about wanting to keep making the show, but there's forward movement. We're heading in the right direction.
Love that.
Did you ever get, because obviously you're walking down the street and everybody knows who you are because of Catfish. Did you ever get any fans of the show that made recommendations for you? You had to have gotten hundreds of people saying, please do this.
Yeah. I mean, almost every day I would get a message or an email from either someone who had a good idea for a show or who had a story that they felt should be on the show. So there were, and that's actually how the whole thing started. I mean, I had no ambitions to host a reality show. The documentary came out and people just started emailing me and sending me messages and coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, I saw your story. It feels like it's a lot like Could Be My Story. What do I do?" And so the show really came out of the outpouring from the public about Catfish scenarios that were taking place that no one had ever been talking about. So yeah, that's kind of how we all got started.
Well, you did such a great job with that show, and I'm very excited to hear what you said about moving forward. Now, I have followed you in social media for a long time, and I saw you started to talk about real estate. Are you really going into real estate?
Yeah. So I've been around real estate my whole life. Obviously just living in New York City, you can't avoid it. But my father's been a broker for over 50 years. My grandfather was a real estate developer, and did a lot to really transform neighborhoods and build some beautiful housing communities, and golf courses. And it's just sort of always been in my family. My aunt is a broker. Both my aunts are brokers. So when we stopped filming Catfish last year and I had some time to sort of reassess the next sort of move in my career path, I thought working with my dad would be great. It's always something I've been interested in. So I got my license and I'm working with my dad. Of course, I've become much busier now with entertainment stuff and TV show stuff than I thought I was going to be because, that's just sort of the nature of the business. Right. But it's a nice thing to be doing with my dad and as whenever I can and be helpful and work with people. And I have a lot of great friends who are hopefully in the market to buy and sell homes in the next few years. So yeah, it's something that I love and it's a fun extra thing to be doing.
Man, I am fascinated with New York real estate. I lived there for 3 years. Can you help me on some no, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's out of control.
The rent is too damn high. I will admit. But we're all curious to see kind of how things go now with this new mayor. We'll see, but hopefully everything works out and affordability becomes a more realistic for people.
Now, you had kind of a near-death experience, I think, and I think at one point the doctors had said to you, you might never walk again.
Yeah, well,
Are
so
you comfortable talking about that?
sure. And it's a great segue into our special guest.
Yes, yes.
Um, I last year, shortly after we stopped filming Catfish, not knowing if we would be starting again, I just was on a normal sort of e-bike ride out in Long Island, going to pick up my kid from summer camp. Um, and in a split second, vehicles in front of me stopped, and I didn't have a chance to slow down, and I
Ooh.
smashed into the back of a, like a pickup truck. Um, and the next thing I remember, I was being loaded into an ambulance. Uh, and it turned out when I got to the hospital, they did a scan and saw that I had a fracture in my neck on my, I think it was my
Wow.
C6. Um, so there was a lot of concern because that injury typically leads to paralysis. It's very common that a fracture,
Wow.
and specifically in that area of the neck, which primarily controls limb movement, um, is a big issue. So I was immediately rushed to a specialty hospital at Stony Brook. I had an emergency surgery, and by some just incredible luck, I was not paralyzed and was able to make a full recovery. But for a week there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not I would make a full recovery and whether or not I'd have full use of my limbs. So it
I
was pretty
remember
scary.
your posts were very scary, and it's hard to believe that you've bounced back this much in such a short amount of time. That's scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think obviously there was some force in the universe, whether you call it God or karma or I
Wow.
don't know what, but something was watching over me
Yeah.
because, whether it was a mile an hour faster or a 1 degree of a different impact, who knows? Like it could have made the difference. But um, I also think that because I was, committed to really running, which has become such an important force in my life, and I was in great shape right leading up to the accident. Um, that happened in August, and that November last year, I actually ran the New York City Marathon.
Wow.
It was tough, but having running as this motivational force in my life and this hugely important physical and mental health device
Right.
was really what got me back out and got me back on my feet. And
Wow. What a
changed.
Are you
story.
100%? You're better, right? Or is there
I
still
am. I
some
still have just like some lingering
right?
neuropathy in my hands, but
Neve has a very special guest with him. It's someone from Atlanta. Neve, I think you should introduce him.
So I just met this gentleman a couple days ago on Saturday morning. I met him, and I was so inspired just by meeting him that I asked if I could be one of his guides for the New York City Marathon.
Oh, wow.
His name is Cedric King. He's a former Army Ranger and now an incredible author and motivational speaker. And I'm so proud to call him a new friend. So welcome to the show, Cedric.
All right, Cedric King.
Hey,
How are
hey.
you?
Guys, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're in Atlanta, right?
Thank
Or
you
what
so
are you in
much.
Duluth?
I am. I'm in Duluth, right out in Gwinnett County.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad to meet you because we need to add a listener a week. That has been our challenge. So hopefully we can have you join us now on the Morning X. But your story is fascinating. I don't even know how you sum it up. You're a double amputee who has run a whole lot of marathons. And just seeing the video that Neve posted of you two running the New York City Marathon was beyond inspirational. Walk back a bit. What is your story?
Uh, in 2012, I was serving our country in Afghanistan, and I was on a mission. And on that mission, I stepped on an IED, an improvised
Oh,
explosive device. It blew both my legs off. And from that point, to today, I've been living a life to inspire the world and and tell everybody about God's redemption process.
How did you make that mental shift though when this happened to you?
To be honest with you, Leslie, most of it was faith and what the military had shown me. The military gives you something tough to overcome each day. And I just took that process, incorporated it to what I was living with daily. A lot like what your listeners are doing right now.
Well, Neve, how did you get the connection to Cedric?
So I met Cedric because I've become involved with an organization called Achilles International, which is a group that provides guides and access to training for athletes with disabilities. And so I've been running with different athletes over the last few years in different races around the country and the world as a guide. And I met Cedric Saturday at a pre-marathon event, and I was just immediately drawn to him. And Cedric, actually, you told a great story about your experience at Walter Reed when you opened that care package. And I think that if you want to tell that, I think that really had a huge impact on me.
So when I got injured, if you can remember back in 2012, there were care packages that were being sent to the troops overseas, but some of them were being sent to here in the States, the hospitals here in the States. And sure enough, I opened up a care package one day and I'm looking for something in there to kind of like make some sort of sense of this. And I run into a package, I open it up, and it has a notepad in it, and it has a pack of pencils, like the old school pencils, like this one.
Right. Yeah. Number two pencil.
Ones, the number two.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I open up the package, has the pad of paper, it has the pencils, and I get so frustrated because there's no pencil sharpener in the pencils. For all you old school guys out there, you know what I'm talking about. Sure enough, I get frustrated and I yell to the top of my lungs, why did this have to happen to me and when is it going to get better? No answer. No answer. I yell again, why did this have to happen to me and when is it going to get better? I hear a voice that says, you are the pencil. Now, over the last years, not only do I see that I am the pencil, but you are too. See, this pencil, as good as it is on the outside, is yellow and it's brand new. It hasn't been a bit on it at all. This pencil is virtually useless to me without the sharpener. The sharpener for this pencil is the same thing as challenges in life. We need it to get to the place where we can be used for what we were designed to do. And this pencil, as much as it doesn't want to go into the sharpener, it needs the sharpener. We need challenges so that we can become all that we have been designed by God to do.
But with all due respect, the challenge you were dealt, losing both legs, and to have the attitude that you have today, it is awe-inspiring. And I've got goosebumps just saying that out loud because talking to you even before we came on the segment, you're so uplifting, you're so positive, and the fact that you're running marathons with, what do you call the machine, the Terminator getup you have? What is that thing? It's like a bounce.
Yes.
What is it called?
Those are my running blades. So they are
running
carbon
blades.
fiber, and yep, and they're designed to give you the energy that you put into the ground. It's almost exactly the way that your foot is designed, but it's a mechanical version of what you have right there in your feet.
Well, but hold on. But the rest of our body is kind of trained to cool everything down. How does it? You stop at around what, your knee or your thigh? How does that work with your body?
It's very difficult, which is why during the whole marathon, you see Neve spraying me with water the whole time because I heat differently than you do. You have more skin exposed than I do. I have most of my skin either cut off or wrapped up inside of rubber, so I overheat. And everybody knows when you get hotter, your heart works harder to cool you off. Well, Neve was just dousing me with water throughout these whole 26 miles. And that is one of the things that helped out so much.
Cedric, you talk a lot about achieving the impossible, and you told that incredible story. Talk a little bit. You have a book out called The Making Point. Let's plug that.
Yeah. So throughout these last 13 years, what has happened is I've annotated certain stories and I've put certain things down in notepads. Well, I assemble so much stuff, I found that I could put it inside of a book. This book, it tells obviously the story of what happened from all multiple counts. My mom getting the phone call, my wife getting the phone call, but it also has stories that are relatable that you and I use every single day. learning how to walk, learning how to swim, learning how to speak as a motivational speaker. All these stories are captured inside the book called The Making Point.
Well, your story is unbelievable. I'm so glad I met you. I mean, people like you, I wish there were more people like you
So
out
inspiring.
there. Hold tight right there. And I never thought in my life I would be doing a video conference call with Neve Schulman. At least it was under this circumstance and not another one. Neve, it was so great to meet you.
Yes,
Thanks
and
so
glad
much,
you're
guys.
okay.
Yeah, you're so good at what you do. You're a freaking natural on TV.
Yes.
So I'm excited to hear that we may have you back on the small screen soon.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you. Neve Schulman, Cedric King, someone you should know in Atlanta. This is the original. This is 99X.